Hi, good morning, everyone. Can get started?
Yes, good morning. Hi everyone. I'm Janella Ramdas from Creative Tech Hub Caribbean, and I'm also here with my colleague Viraisha Gayadar and Dr. Vishnu Durga from Action Invest Caribbean, where we has a partnership together for the Who's Who in Suriname Business Directories. En in deze talk zullen we praten over waarom zo'n business directory en hoe dat aansluit op de huidige ontwikkelingen in Suriname.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So as you can see, this is our first directory in Suriname, and we had a launch on 27 January in Torarica, and it was very successful. Dat kunnen we zien aan bedrijven die gefeatured zijn in de directory, maar ook bedrijven die zo'n directory nu in hun handen willen hebben. En naast zo'n fysieke directory, dus de bedrijven die hierin gefeatured zijn, krijg je gratis dan een profiel in onze online database, dus op de website. En misschien, Janella, kan jij wat meer vertellen over de website?
Ja, we hebben ook een Who's Who website, dat is whoiswho.sr. Zoals we relatief aangeven, als je in een fysieke directory voorkomt, kom je automatisch voor op de website, maar je kan ook ervoor kiezen om alleen op de website voor te komen. Daar zijn er dus andere kosten voor. Als je dus hebt gefeatured voor de website, krijg je dus dan de inloggegevens van ons en alle instructies om je profiel om je gegevens in te vullen op de website. En dat is dus ook handig, want je kan ook een link leggen met je eigen website, waardoor je meer traffic krijgt op je eigen website. Dat zijn dus de voordelen van de whoiswho.sr website. Toch? We hebben dus zo'n beetje verteld over de Who's Who in Suriname. Maar Vishnu, zou jij ook een beetje kunnen vertellen over de Who's Who in Guyana Business Directory?
I thank you very much, both Janella and Viraisha. It's a real pleasure being here. We have been featuring the Who's Who in Guyana for the past 4 years, 4 editions, and this was the very first edition, very similar in terms of size to the Suriname edition, and it's continued to grow over the years. So look at our second edition. People really love the scenery as well. Our third edition really started to feature a lot of the projects and improvements that are happening in Guyana. And of course, last year we launched our fourth edition. And on the fourth edition itself, we again have a lot of projects that are listed. We are currently in production for the fifth edition, and the fifth edition is looking really beautiful. It's currently being printed, and we will actually launch it a month earlier. So late October, we will actually be launching the fifth edition of the Who's in Guyana Business Directory. And again, it's larger because many companies are um, being able to make connections via the Who's Who, and it's in very high demand. This is actually the first time that we have a reprint being done of the Suriname Business Directory in India for distribution in India because there's a high level of interest in what's happening in Suriname and in Guyana. So we need to make sure that the world and all the businesses and the investors are able to easily find us.
Okay, Vishnu, waarom is het belangrijk voor bedrijven in Suriname dat ze gefeatured worden in de directory in Suriname? Want vooral hoe de oil and gas nu echt een topic is, waarom is het dan belangrijk? Dus wat is het doel daarvan?
Yeah, it is very important that companies in Suriname are able to be found easily. And we do think that these countries are small countries, but still, not everyone knows each other. So, and that is inside the country. Imagine the foreign companies, the foreign businesses coming in, and they really don't know who's who. And they also want to make sure that they can do enough research on businesses in Suriname. And what they would want to do is to make sure that they are able to understand the history of the company. How long have you been around? What exactly is the vision of the company? What are the main goods and services that the company offers? Is the company certified to any standards, especially in this industry? And what I've noticed is when the oil and gas industry starts and really kicks off, all the other industries also have to step up their game and they have to comply to various standards. ISO 9001 is a good example of a standard that's very popular in the industry. That's for quality management systems, so that you can guarantee that you are able to perform at the right level. So I think that being in a directory, being in a place, being on the website where it allows you to ensure that that information is easily available, especially for the people who are searching it. In the hard copy as well. The hard copy, we make sure that it's on every coffee table, at the commercial banks, at the embassies, at all the places that deal with investment, because that's where people are looking for information. So it's important for people and businesses in Suriname to make sure that they get found quickly. The worst thing that you would want to happen is that maybe a competitor or a company that's not up to the your company's level gets found and you don't, because persons weren't able to easily find you.
Yes. Yes. And in Suriname, we always say Suriname is a small country. Suriname is klein en we kennen iedereen, we weten wie wat doet en welke bedrijven er allemaal voorkomen in Suriname. Hoe denk jij daarover?
Yeah, it's small countries, but still, we recently last year we set up our company in Suriname as well, and it was still a very big learning curve. So what we want to do is to make sure that it becomes much easier to understand the process. In the new edition in Guyana, we actually have mapped out the entire process of how to start a business, what taxation is like, what the revenue, what the insurances are like. So we'll be doing the same in the new edition in Suriname as well, to really make it that information source. And I don't know if you know everyone in Suriname. I don't know everyone in Guyana, so I do want to make sure that there's a place where proactive companies that are ready to grow can easily be found.
Ja, dus ik ben het helemaal eens met je, Vishnu. Want wij leven ook in Suriname, we kennen niet alle bedrijven. En ook al kennen we bepaalde bedrijven, maar misschien weten we niet waarover de bedrijven gaan. Dus we kunnen de contactgegevens bijvoorbeeld niet vinden. Of stel we willen we zoeken naar een partner om samen te werken. Dus dat is in zo'n directory handig dat we in één oogopslag gewoon alle informatie kunnen vinden. Dus,
Ja.
Okay. Wat is jouw verwachting over bedrijven uit het buitenland? Is Suriname in trek bij bedrijven in het buitenland? Komen er veel buitenlanders? Kun je daarover wat vertellen?
Well, recently, I think just about a week ago, Um, Suriname just had the announcement from Total that they'll be moving ahead with their studies, and once the studies are clear, they'll be able to make an investment decision in 2024, with production coming on stream in 2028. And just for some context, that is exactly where Guyana was in 2016. In 2016, a decision was made about the project. The initial discovery in Guyana, of course, was made in 2015. So the study was done in 2016, and the investment decision was made in 2017. So if you compare it, Suriname is saying investment decision in 2024, Guyana said 2017, but Guyana got to production in 2019. So Guyana now already has about 3 full years of production. In Suriname, it's saying, they're saying it's going to be 2028, but it could be like Guyana, especially with the way technology improves, that it may actually happen a bit faster. Um, and in Suriname's case, what I understood from the announcement is that the first vessel is going to be producing 200,000 barrels per day, whereas in Guyana, we started with a vessel that produces 120,000 barrels per day. So it's a larger investment than our first investment was in Guyana. And we have seen, like, since 2017, the construction boom, the salaries going up, the all the various services and new services that didn't even exist here before coming into play. And I expect the exact same thing to happen in Suriname. The good thing with Suriname is Suriname has been producing onshore oil for over 50 years, or about 50 years. So there is some capacity already onshore. So I think that's going to be really, really helpful for Suriname. But there are going to be many international companies looking to come in now to really serve the offshore industry. And in Guyana now we have over 10,000 people working in that industry, and that is including, well, about 5,000 of those are Guyanese workers, and that is just directly. We also have many people who work in the industry indirectly, all the hotels, the transportation sector, entertainment, almost everything you can think of, plumbers, electricians, everything is in high demand. So it's important uh, that everyone who comes in can quickly find who they need to work with.
En dat hebben we ook gezien op de summit waar we aanwezig waren. Hebben we dus ook al buitenlandse bedrijven gezien. Maar ook, ja, en ze zijn dus ook naar ons toegestapt om bijvoorbeeld informatie te verschaffen over bepaalde bedrijven. En het is dus handig als je dus voorkomt in de directory. Het is handig voor ons om zulke mensen, zulke buitenlanders en buitenlandse bedrijven te verwijzen naar de directory, zodat ze je contactgegevens kunnen vinden. Dus dat is ook handig. Ja.
Vishnu, als je terugkijkt op het succes van de eerste editie van de Directory in Suriname, welke impact heb je dan waargenomen op de Surinaamse economie?
Yeah. So in terms of the impact, what I've seen is that many people are really looking at, well, how do they get the info. I've seen the Suriname directory being distributed all over the world. I know that even we're working right now to make sure that from the government perspective that we get very clearly as well what the incentives are for investing in Suriname, to make sure that investors know what areas to focus on. I know that in Suriname as well, there's a local content body now in place that is working on designing the best way forward for Suriname. And people are very interested to know, well, how does that work? What must they do? How will they benefit from everything that's going to happen in Suriname? So people looking for the information is one part. Our part is to make sure that we now produce the information in an easy consumed way, so that people can learn what they need to learn, and make better decisions, make faster decisions that will allow them to benefit.
Ja. En voor bedrijven die voorkomen in de eerste editie, hoe kunnen ze eigenlijk groei en erkenning, hoe kunnen ze dat bevorderen in de tweede editie?
And so what we normally find is that with the companies that have been in the directory, they would normally, they have to make sure that they track all the leads that they're getting, so that they're very clear on what's working, what's not working. In Guyana, we have found that companies, if they had a quarter page, they move up to a half page. If they had a half page, they move up to a full page, because the more of their story that they can tell, the better. And especially the faces as well. If they can say, well, a photo of the CEO, or a photo of the operations manager or the finance manager, so that it makes it more recognizable. People can put the faces to the companies, and that takes a little bit more space. So the companies generally make sure that they invest more in presenting their company. And in Guyana now, people do photo shoots. They make sure that it's very professional. You really have the image that you want to portray for the company. So I believe that it's the same thing. I know in Suriname many companies have already renewed. There are many new companies that want to be able to also get that exposure. So I think it's really up to the companies how much they want to make sure that they're easily found and in the marketplace.
Yes.
Ja, wat zijn de onderscheidende factoren van onze Who's directory vergeleken met andere directories of advertentiebladen? Want heel veel bedrijven stellen de vraag of ze denken dat onze directory hetzelfde zijn als andere in Suriname. Dus wat zijn dan de onderscheidende factoren daar van ons?
Yeah. So, in terms of the differences, we are more of a directory, whereas there's a lot of places to advertise. You can advertise in the newspapers. You can maybe find a magazine, and then take a look at if people want to be able to find you that way. The key thing with the directory is, think about when you use a directory. You use a directory when you're looking for a specific uh, goods or service, right? If you're looking for a company that does agricultural supplies or tractors, or a company that is in the mining sector, you pick up the directory and you go look for that area, and then you look for the companies that are featured there. So the big difference is that our directory is one that people go into to look for information, whereas just advertising is more of an interruption type of activity. Somebody reads the newspaper. The person didn't really read the newspaper to read the advertisements. They're reading the newspaper to read the news, right? Somebody isn't really watching the television because they're waiting to see the advert, right? Nobody, maybe if I place the advert, I'm going to sit and look, and I want to see my advert, but nobody else really is looking at the television or listening to the radio to wait for the advert. Think about it. Every time you have the radio on and an advert comes on, most of the time you skip it. You skip to another radio station, or you skip the channel. Or in the newspaper, you don't even look at the advertisements. You skip. You look at the news. So the difference with us is that we have a publication that people look for the information that we have in there. They want to know who the companies are that are in the sector. So that's the biggest difference. And our job is to make it very attractive, to make it very useful, and so that, and we don't want everyone to use it as well, right? Our big goal is we want the businesses, we want investors, we want people in big organizations. Those are the people we really want to use the directory, because they can do business with each other, they can connect with each other. So it's a very specific purpose. So anyone in Suriname who's thinking about it, I would say make sure you know who you want to connect with. If you want to connect with other local and international businesses, local and international organizations, local and international investors, then you have to be in here. We know it works really well. We have experience in Trinidad, experience in Guyana, and we're seeing it in Suriname as well. And the only way you will know is actually use it and test it out and look at the difference.
Ja, zoals meneer Vishnu het zo'n beetje vertelt, is onze Who's directory ook heel erg aangenaam en aantrekkelijk. We maken dus gebruik van verschillende plaatjes en kleuren, maar ook categoriseren we de bedrijven in sectoren. Dus als je dus op zoek wil gaan naar bedrijven in een bepaalde sector, dan is het ook makkelijker te zien welke bedrijven eigenlijk allemaal voorkomen in zo'n sector. Dat maakt onze Business Directory unieker. Dat heeft dus een onderscheid vergeleken met andere advertentiebladen.
Ja.
Ja.
Dus we hebben 14 sectoren.
Ja.
Als die gewezen.
Ja.
Hier.
14 sectoren.
Kan zien. Als ik het even mag oplezen, we hebben bijvoorbeeld de agriculture sector, automotive, aviation en industrial services. We hebben banking, construction, education, dus noem maar op. Dus elk bedrijf die hier in de directory gefeatured wordt, valt dan onder een sector waarin ze horen.
Ja. En als je dus bijvoorbeeld in zee wilt gaan met bepaalde bedrijven in specifieke sectoren, dan kan je dus dat dus makkelijk zien in zo'n Who's Business Directory. Binnenkort wordt onze tweede editie gelanceerd, volgend jaar. Maar in Guyana wordt de vijfde editie binnenkort gelanceerd. Meneer Vishnu, wat zijn de ontwikkelingen en trends die u heeft gezien bij de vijfde editie dat binnenkort wordt gelanceerd, die wij dus ook kunnen linken met onze tweede editie die wij binnenkort gaan lanceren?
Yep. So what we have definitely done this year, that I touched a little bit on earlier, is we have all the embassies. Of course, we have the president of the country also giving his message and his encouragement to the businesses and investors. But besides that, we have all the main business support organizations giving their outlook for the economy here in Guyana. We have all the main embassies that are also giving their messages. I think that's one of the key ways that we are adjusting and improving the Who's Who, and we're looking to do the same thing in Suriname as well, to make sure that all the key entities are able to really provide their guidance. And because what happens is that they are some of the biggest distributors of the Who's Who. So at the embassies, they have the Who's Who. So when investors come in, when businesses come in, it's the easiest place for them to get a copy. And we wanted to make sure that those embassies and those key support organizations are also in the Who's Who with their own message. So that's one of the key things we've done. The taxes, the tax regime, to make sure that it's well laid out. We're currently developing the one for Suriname as well. All the incentives that exist, we're adding those into the Suriname edition as well, because again, that's the type of information. And in some cases, people in the businesses in Suriname, and we've seen it in Guyana, businesses in Guyana may not have been aware of the whole range of incentives and the benefits of investing in these countries. So what we want to do is to ensure that that information is front and center.
Yes.
Ja, je hebt al een beetje verteld hierover, maar hoe kunnen bedrijven in Suriname als in Guyana profiteren van de economische kansen als ze gefeatured zijn in zo'n directory?
Yeah. So the easiest way to benefit is what happens is that companies will start reaching out to you. You have to make sure that you have a good process to accept that type of interest coming into your company. As a training company, and I know Creative Tech Hub is also a training company, you have to be very clear. And what I did want to do is maybe show you the website for a second. This is the Who's Who .sr website. And on the website itself, it is very easy for a company to be searched. So you can see that the sectors that you just mentioned are all outlined. It's easy to click, and then you can see the companies, like, for example, construction and engineering. You can easily see the different companies that are featured in there. We're also able to see the e-directory. So for those people who are unable to get their hands on a hard copy. They can quickly be able to see what's going on, and who the companies are, who the organizations are that are working in the specific sectors. So that makes it very easy. We even see that the Guyana government has a section in there promoting what's happening in Guyana as well. So makes it really easy for Surinamese companies that want to invest in Guyana to learn a little bit as well by just picking up the copy from the Surinamese copy of the directory. And we can also see the types of companies that are really operating in the sector. And the same thing happens for Guyana as well. In Guyana, we can see that, especially when we go to the all companies, we can see, the range of companies that are there. All the companies have their area, and we can see all the new profiles that are under construction as well, because they are going to get launched next month. But it's an endless amount of companies that have made sure that they are presented and presented well. And every single company also has the opportunity, and let me see if I just pick our own company, has the opportunity to list their team. If they have any announcements, they can easily list their announcements as well, a list of their services, a list of any of the certifications that they have. And all of this really benefits the business population by the amount of traffic that we get on the website. So yes, we do over 10,000 copies, hard copies, but online there are a lot of people searching for that information. So we see over 2 million searches in the past 16 months. And the traffic is really Monday to Friday. It's about Monday to Friday, 9 to 2. On the weekends, it drops significantly because it's mainly business traffic that is looking for what is happening in Suriname and in Guyana. And we can see, that the level of, all the different countries that are looking for information about what is going on in these markets. So I just wanted to make sure that, persons can also see the volume of traffic that is, how interested people are in Suriname, how interested people are in Guyana. And to make sure that they benefit from this, we've created a platform, we benefit from it a lot as well. So we want to make sure that everyone else gets to benefit from that traffic. So yeah, I think it's a very low cost way of getting your business the exposure it needs. I think it's at the lowest level, it's like $1 per day. If somebody does like a quarter page, they get the quarter page, they get to be on the website, and it's just about $1 per day. A full page, I think, works out to about $4 per day. So who wouldn't want to be able to feature their company with so much exposure for just $1, $4 per day? That's why even for our own company, we take multiple pages because it allows us to tell our story even better. So yeah, I don't know what can we buy with $1 per day in Suriname.
Yes.
Not much.
So at least you can buy, a presence in the who's who.
Ja. We hebben ook gekeken naar de analytics van de Who's Who website in Suriname. En we zien dus ook dat er genoeg bezoekers komen op de website, maar ook van waar de bezoekers komen, van welke landen, hoeveel bezoekers je per dag krijgt. Dus dat is ook allemaal een plus voor de Who's Who in Suriname Business Directory, toch? We hebben gekeken naar de website, naar de fysieke directory. Maar Winasje, kan je een beetje vertellen hoe de distributie is gegaan van de eerste editie?
Ja, dus de distributie is goed gegaan, loopt goed. We hebben gedistribueerd bij Surinaamse bedrijven, maar ook events hier in Suriname, zoals de ICT Summit, de Oil and Gas Summit, Fest Event. En behalve Suriname hebben we ook gedistribueerd in Guyana, Trinidad, Amerika, in Texas, op de Oil and Gas Summit. En ik kan zeggen, dankzij de distributie zien we ook een groei. Want mensen zien de directory dus van dichtbij, ze hebben het in hun handen en zijn nu dan geïnteresseerd om ook in de directory gefeatured te worden. Want ik heb bijvoorbeeld bedrijven gehad die website-only package hadden, maar Dankzij de directie dat ze het nu beter gezien hebben, dat ze nu ook al bijvoorbeeld een half page of een full page willen hebben. Dus de discussie is goed gegaan. Ja.
Ja. En er zijn ook Surinaamse bedrijven die nog overwegen om voor te komen in de Rosu Business Directory in Suriname. Misschien zou je een advies of een boodschap kunnen geven aan deze bedrijven die dus nog twijfelen om voor te komen in de Business Directory.
Yep. So before last week, before the announcement was made, maybe I would say, hey, it makes sense. Just wait a little bit, see what's going to happen in Suriname. But I know what happened in Guyana in 2017 when that announcement was made. Guyana has been on a path to growth, a really rapid path to growth. The companies that prepared really early, I would say our company is one of the companies that was really prepared and really took advantage of all the opportunities that came because of the rapid developments that were taking place. And we've grown so much. In 2014 we had 3 employees. Now we're at 22 employees. Um, we had one location. Now we have 2 locations. Our new location is going to be opened in a matter of a couple of weeks, and it's maybe I just give you a quick view. This is our new location that is going to be opened in a couple of weeks. So I can tell you that we have grown rapidly, and just to keep up with the demand, we used to do maybe one training session per day. Now we're doing 3 and 4 training sessions simultaneously. Um, in the country, all the employees, all the team members of any organization will also need to step up their game. Customer service will now be something that is expected at every level, inside companies, between companies, with the customers. So there is so much work to be done. And again, there are going to be many companies coming in from outside of Suriname as well that are going to be looking for serving their part of the market. And companies in Suriname have to decide, well, are we going to step up our game slowly? Are we going to step up our game at the pace that's required? Are we going to step back and let other companies come in and take over the market? It's all kind of decisions, and all of that has happened in Guyana. In some cases, Guyanese companies have stepped up and have grown massively. In some cases, they were not very prepared, and companies came in from outside of Guyana and have taken the market. So all of that is happening and will happen in Suriname as well. So it's interesting to see what companies in Suriname are going to do. My advice to them is that as the market evolves, to be ready for that. I mean, when you run a company, you always want the company to do well, make sure the employees are well treated, well paid. You want to make sure there's room for growth. You want to make sure there's room for expansion. So if we want all of that, we need to take the steps to be able to get there. And the very exciting thing is that I think in a month or so we'll be able to get that announcement of what's going to be happening with the bridge between Suriname and Guyana. Because if we think about CARICOM, the 14, 15 countries in CARICOM, Guyana and Suriname are the only two that are, on land near to each other. The only thing, and we do have the ferry and we do have flights. We have several flights per day. But what we don't have as yet is a bridge. And the bridge is now being talked about, and we have companies that are shortlisted. And as I mentioned, we expect that there's going to be some kind of announcement of the bridge actually being built and a contractor selected. When that happens, strong Guyanese companies will be more easily able to operate in Suriname. Strong Surinamese companies will be more able to operate in Guyana. And it makes the market bigger. It will allow companies to grow much faster. So having your company out there allows for partners. I would love to see Guyanese and Surinamese companies collaborating. Action Invest Caribbean and Creative Tech Hub Caribbean, two Caribbean companies, one located in Guyana, one located in Suriname. We are collaborating. We've been collaborating for the past year, and it's with much success. We've known each other for a long time, but the official collaboration started over a year ago. So I would love to see a lot more of that, because then if two strong companies from two countries come together, you're able to serve a much bigger market. So, the who's who in Suriname business and the who's who in Guyana business, we are really the bridge between businesses in Suriname and Guyana, and then to the Caribbean and the rest of the world. That is our job. That's what we do every single day, and we take it very seriously.
Yeah. And if you're not promoting your company, then who else will, right? Yes. En Viraj, wat je dagelijks bezig met de sales van Hoezo. We lopen de sales en er zal wel een deadline zitten.
Ja, de sales gaat hard. De deadline om te registreren is eind september. Dus wat bedrijven zeggen, als ze gefeatured willen worden, dat zo snel mogelijk doen. Ze hebben allemaal gehoord waarom het belangrijk is dat ze gefeatured worden, et cetera. Dus dat kan tot eind september. En ja, dus dat moeten ze dan zo snel mogelijk doen.
And I can just tell you, in Guyana, our deadline for Guyana was August 31st, and we stopped exactly at the deadline. It allowed us to produce the Who's Who much earlier. We're 1 month ahead of schedule now, and we did the very similar outreach in Guyana. We didn't do anything extra, but the Who's Who in Guyana will be bigger again than the last year. And so this new edition, I'm sorry to say, is going to be even heavier. It was already almost 1 kilo. It's going to be a little bit more. And that just tells you, all the companies that are renewing, all the companies that have been added as well, because of the benefit that they're seeing, right? If they had to go to Houston, Texas, to the Offshore Technology Conference, I have to check. I think that trip cost the company almost $7,000 or $8,000 to be at the Offshore Technology Conference for the full 4 days, distributing hundreds of copies and getting so many people scanning the QR code and going to the websites as well. We did Trinidad, the Trade and Investment Convention. I think we distributed almost 600 copies there. An investment like that, I think that again was about $2,000 or $3,000 US. We are at every single conference in Guyana. We're at the Suriname Energy Conference as well. And at the Energy Conference, the cost to be at that conference is very high as well. So instead of, by being in the Who's Who, it allows your company to be featured in all these conferences. Every single conference, your company is in the Who's Who, it will be found. And I think that is, massive value for money.
Oké, ter afsluiting, is er nog iets dat u heeft te zeggen, meneer Vishnu, Viraj?
I can practice a little bit of Dutch. Dat is waar ik zeggen dat Suriname, het gaat echt een verschil worden tussen wat mensen nu gewend zijn en vooral met de paar jaren die we net hebben meegemaakt in Suriname. Dus ik denk, kijk even goed naar wat is gebeurd in Guyana. Suriname staat nu bijna waar Guyana stond in 2016. Zodra die investment decision is gemaakt, ook gaat het echt. En dat begint nu al. Wij krijgen al veel requests, veel om te kijken, oké, kunnen we dit doen in Suriname, kunnen we dat doen in Suriname. Want bedrijven willen zich alvast klaarmaken. Dus ik denk dat het heel belangrijk is dat bedrijven zich nu preparen. En we hebben de prijzen nooit veranderd om in de Who's Who te zitten. Want er komen steeds meer bedrijven erbij. Dus het heeft geen zin om het te verhogen. Wij willen dat het zoveel mogelijk gedaan wordt. Wij zitten ook zelf in de Who's Who. Dus wij krijgen ook onze eigen leads uit de Who's Who. Dus ik denk het is heel belangrijk dat we die exposure doen. En niet alleen voor de bedrijven in Suriname, maar ook Suriname. Er moeten, ons blad wordt helemaal in het Engels gedaan. Dus de hele wereld, ja, het is meer mensen praten Engels. Engels is de taal van business. Dus we zoeken ook naar informatie in het Engels. En dat is precies wat wij doen. En ik zag net de vraag daar ook in de comments section. Ik denk dat de Who's Who al voor Total's notification goede traction had. Veel mensen keken al ernaar. Maar nu dat met Total hun notification die ze net hebben gedaan, denk ik dat het gewoon nog drukker wordt. En we zien dat op de website, op de Surinaamse website. Ik denk sinds vorige week zie ik gewoon bijna een rechte lijn naar boven. Zie ik een heel rechte lijn naar boven dat hoeveel mensen nu zitten te zoeken wat er allemaal in Suriname gebeurt. En ja, ik zou mijn Nederlands, dankjewel dat ik mijn Nederlands een beetje kan oefenen. Maar ja, ik denk dat het heel, ik ben heel, very excited for Suriname. Very excited for Suriname, very excited for Guyana. It's a fantastic opportunity. And we're also, I think just a couple of weeks ago, we announced the launch of the Suriname Guyana Chamber of Commerce that is supported by both governments. It is supported by both sides of the private sector. We have a startup committee. We're happy as Action Invest, and also Creative Tech Hub is one of the startup committee members. We're expecting the launch of that Suriname Guyana Chamber of Commerce in November. So maybe I can just make a quick plug. If you're interested in joining the Suriname Guyana Chamber of Commerce, make sure that you go to the website. Maybe we'll drop the link into the comments. So if you're looking at the video, take a look at it. It's surguychamber.org. So that it's another way. Find every single way. Use the Who's Who. Use the chamber. Do everything you can. Jump on a flight to Guyana, or people in Guyana jump on a flight to Suriname. Just jumping on a flight, it costs $450 for a single flight, and that's the flight only. For that same $450, you can be in the Who's Who for an entire year. So go ahead and do that.
En ook met de announcement van Total Energies zal dat niet alleen invloed hebben op de oil and gas industrie en bedrijven, maar ook op de non-oil and gas bedrijven zoals hotels. Hotels zullen volgeboekt zijn, taxibedrijven, restaurants en noem maar op, toch?
Ja.
Ja.
Dus ik zou alle bedrijven willen oproepen als ze gefeatured moeten worden in de directory, want ze hebben gehoord dat wat voor voordelen ze allemaal kunnen hebben en krijgen als ze gefeatured worden. Dus dat ze zich nu registreren. En als ze vragen hebben, kunnen ze een mail sturen naar hello@creativetechhub.online. En ook op de who'swho.sr website is er een media kit aangegeven. Dus daar kunnen ze alle pakketten zien met de prijzen. Dus ze moeten zich dan nu registreren. Zo snel mogelijk.
I just saw the question about wat voor inzichten hebben jullie voor studenten. So insight number one, please make sure you practice your English as well. Suriname has a very small population, about 500,000. You will be attracting a lot of foreigners, English speaking, Spanish speaking. So make sure that you start really working on being very conversational in English and Spanish. Because again, that's the language that is being spoken in Guyana. Fortunately, it's already English speaking, but now we have a very large Spanish influence as well coming in. So it's not uncommon now to hear people speaking Spanish now in Guyana as well. And then secondly, make sure that you go to the website, get your soft copy as well. Usually we have a lot of students who also download it because it has a lot of current information about what's going on in the country. In your textbooks and in the classes, they talk a lot about what has happened in the past. The Who's Who is very current. It's telling you this year, this is what's happening in the sectors, these are the companies operating. And if you're a student in high school or in college or in university, it's a good place to start looking at the type of companies you want to go and work with. So many companies in Guyana use the Who's Who to demonstrate what a progressive organization they are, because they want to attract the best talent. In Guyana right now, it's very, very hard to find any type of skill because employment levels are very, very high here. We are actually bringing a lot of people from outside of Guyana to do work in Guyana. So because and yes, Raishri, I can actually see that she's an MBA student. That's why she's asking. Um, as you as a student, you want to know which company you want to work with, which company has given you enough information for you to make a decision if you should apply there. So again, for the companies as well, it's important that you make sure your students in the country, all the MBA students, all the engineering students, that they see your company as a place that they should be working with and that they can build a career as well. So I just wanted to jump in. I did see that question there from Raishri, and I encourage you to get it as a resource, and reach out to the companies as well. I when I was a student, someone taught me to never write an application, right? Always write the proposal. So, and this is if you're a student or if you're applying for a job, you want a job, don't write an application. Write a proposal of what you will come and do in that organization. That will actually turn some heads. That will actually make them think, well, this is someone we should bring into the organization. You don't just want a job, you want to add value.
En Creative Tech op Kerwin had dus ook samengewerkt met Shell om studenten op het NAD ook met de skills trainingen te geven. Dus wij denken ook, dus ook aan studenten in de oil and gas industrie.
Yes.
Ja. Oké, dan zijn we aan het eind gekomen en wil ik jullie dus bedanken. Thanks for having us, Vishnu. En ik hoop dat het informatief en inspiring is voor de kijkers. Ja.
Yep, very good. And make sure that the companies that are looking at this, make sure that you get into the who's who. Our team will be there in January. I think it's January 26th, unless we pull it forward as well for the launch of the second edition. And all the subscribers to the who's who will be invited to the launch as well. So I look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you very much for the interview today.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.